Among all people on Earth, there were extraordinary people who lived and acquired different abilities. They were called the minimum holders, and one of them was Nice. One day, he and Hajime went to a bank to withdraw money from his account. But there was a group of men who came to rob the bank. Nice did not mind what was going on, that he was just talking to Murasaki on the cell phone. A few minutes later, the superintendent of the Yokohama Police Department, named Art, came after the incident. He thought that the police were the ones who stopped the bank robbery, but it turned out done by Nice. After this, they went straight to a coffee shop to get a new request. They were members of a detective agency called Hamatora, and the table in this coffee shop served as their office. Among the members of this agency were Birth and Ratio, who was a doctor, while Kaneko served as their contract negotiator. Konkeo said that they had two requests, and the first was to arrest the perpetrators of those who abducted some women who were also college students. While the second was to guard the secret safe, which was left by the late head of the Toyosaki family. After getting the necessary information, Birth and Ratio left for their mission and became the bodyguards of a female student. On the other hand, Nice and Murasaki chose the request that they would like to take, but they did not have the same choice. Murasaki preferred the second request because the payment was higher compared to the first. But since Nice did not want to do it, they separated and immediately started to investigate. Nice started talking to the classmates of the last girl who was abducted, while Murasaki was gathering all the information about the secret safe. Nice tried to ask Mao and wanted to gather more information, but since he only paid him 30 yen, Mao refused to give the information he requested. Suddenly, Art came and he was the one who paid Mao. Because of this, Nice was able to get the information he wanted. After Nice's analysis of what Mao had said, he immediately called Birth because he had a hunch that their client was connected to what he was investigating. But the call was interrupted when their car suddenly elevated, and it was done by someone. Then this man went up to Birth client's room, named Azusa, to ask for the secret code, and out of fear, she immediately gave the code to the man. When Birth got out of the car, he tried to fight the man, but this man escaped easily and Nice could not even stop him. They took Azusa to the coffee shop. That was when they found out that she was also connected to Toyosaki's head, so she requested a bodyguard because she knew that there were people looking for her to get the secret code of the safe. After she told everything, and that she accidentally heard the secret code, Nice immediately informed Murasaki and told him about the plans that he had in mind. The three of them tried to go to Murasaki's location, but since Ratio's car was broken, they hurriedly ran to get to him. While Murasaki was talking to Shinji, they were suddenly attacked by the man who faced Birth earlier. This man had the ability to make everything he touched weightless, and it was called gravity minimum. When the man attacked again, Murasaki also used his power minimum to block it. While the other opponents were watching in the distance, Birth and Ratio found and faced them. Since these men were not minimum holders, they easily defeated them. When the man was about to attack Murasaki again, Nice also came. He put on his headphones and snapped his fingers, then he punched the opponent who was defeated by the strength and speed of his attack. After the fight, Murasaki opened the secret safe, but it only contained CDs. At night, Art also came there, and he thought that they should also tell the Hamatora about the serial killer who was targeting the minimum holders. One day, there were two young students who came as their clients. They were Theo and Ray, and they wanted the team to investigate the sudden disappearance of their teacher, named Kitazawa. To facilitate their investigation, Nice pretended to be a student, and Murasaki pretended to be a student teacher. When their math class called Nice to solve on the board, his teacher and classmates could not believe on his perfect answer. He noticed a strange app on his classmate's cell phone, and when they found the student who created it, Murasaki asked her how to log into the app. As they investigated this app, they found out that Theo was being bullied by the other students. Theo mentioned this to Nice, and he admitted that because of this, he tried to commit suicide several times. But his views on life changed when Kitazawa noticed his struggle and helped him. Murasaki came to a building where Kitazawa's dead body was found, but the brain was removed from its head. Art told them that this was the work of a serial killer whose only victims were minimum holders. They found out that just like them, Kitazawa was from the Facultas Academy, and was also a minimum holder. In the evening when they were on their way home from Kitazawa's burial, Nice showed Murasaki the cell phone that he got from the crime scene. From this device, they found out that there was a strange app installed on his cell phone, and they discovered something else too. After Nice collected Theo's photos while other students were bullying him, they wondered who was taking the photos. They suspected that this was the leader, and when they looked at his posts on the app, he only used the same IP address. And it belonged to Kitazawa. This surprised Theo, and he could not believe it. Nice showed them the posts of Theo's bullies. Using Kitazawa's realism minimum ability, they were able to turn the words in Theo's bully's post into a photo. Nice suspected that Kitazawa was doing all of this for his reputation. After Theo found out the truth, he decided to visit Kitazawa's funeral portrait, and he took Rei with him because he wanted to tell something to their teacher. When they got to the school, they saw a bomb. And after a while, they were surprised by a sudden scream from afar. It turned out to be Kojima, who was one of the bullies of Theo. He wanted to take revenge, because his life had become complicated after the pictures went viral. Nice came there, so Kojima used his time acceleration minimum to speed up the timer on the bomb. Nice immediately picked it up to take it far away, but he bumped into a man. He was about to use his ability when Murasaki suddenly grabbed the bomb and threw it above the sky. Then they immediately went to Kojima to give him a lesson. When they reached Kitazawa's funeral portrait, Theo did not hold anymore and expressed his feelings to their teacher. On the other hand, Art learned from a doctor about the non-innate minimum holder. These people were not minimum holders, but could acquire a minimum through implantation. But to do this, they needed the brain of a minimum holder. Nice had no idea that the person he bumped into earlier was the serial killer of minimum holders, whose name was Moral. After murdering his victims, he had gathered a lot of brains of minimum holders. While Art was on his way home, he remembered Nice's advice to be careful of this serial killer. But Art was confident that he had nothing to worry about. One day, Shuko, the director of the Association for the Health Protection and Equality of Youths, became a client of Hamatora. She wanted them to investigate the Facultas Academy for the anomalies that she suspected were being done within it. As an advance payment, they were given a check worth 1 million yen, and if they were done with the job, they would receive triple of that amount. Nice did not want to accept it, but Kaneko immediately took the check because they needed additional funds. Shuko's secretary had doubts about Hamatora, so Shuko mentioned about Murasaki, who was a prodigy, and the second in rank among with the highest score since the Facultas Academy was established. From this information, they had also talked about the holder of the one with the highest score, whose identity had never been made public. In the beginning of Hamatora's investigation at Facultas Academy, Murasaki was working alone because Nice did not want to do it. As Art and Gasaki continued to investigate the serial killer, they also included Shuko's association in their investigation. It was here that Art discovered who they were looking for, so he immediately met this person. After he summarized his findings on the transactions between Moral and the association regarding the importation of Nemcroys, Moral did not deny it to him. When Art asked what he was doing with the Nemcroys, Moral directly answered that he was using it for non-innate minimum holders. Art asked why he was doing this, and Moral just said that he only wanted people to be equal. His goal was to eliminate the gap between minimum holders and non-minimum holders. He believed that in order to do it, non-minimum holders should also be given the abilities. Because Art could no longer handle what Moral was saying, he decided to leave there. But before he could even leave, Moral mentioned that he knew that Art was also one of those who did not have the minimum yet, and this surprised Art. Although he was a graduate of Facultas Academy, he had not yet released his minimum. Moral added that he could feel that, like others, Art also felt jealous of the minimum holders, and this made Art angry. As Shuko continued to speak in front of many people, the manhole cover near them was suddenly thrown. A monstrous creature came out of this manhole, so they called Art immediately. That was the moment when Art calmed down, and after he learned the situation, he told Moral that he would come back with the arrest warrant. Murasaki arrived at the location, and he fought against the monster. While Nice was just watching from a distance. Shuko suddenly came out of hiding to reprimand the monster. But she was shocked when the creature called her mother, so she immediately knew that this was her son, named Takahiro. When Art arrived, Takahiro quickly returned to the sewer. Suddenly, Moral called Art and told him that what happened to Takahiro was also his doing. They continued to chase Takahiro until they got him out of the sewer. When it attacked them, it was the moment that Nice decided to face Takahiro. Nice beat his opponent until Takahiro could not stand anymore. Then he picked up the whistle that belonged to Takahiro, and after he blew on it, that was the moment when Takahiro started crying. Meanwhile, Moral burned down his mansion, and it was too late for Gasaki to seize him and gather the evidence. After what Moral did to Takahiro, Shuko's secretary informed Moral that they would no longer support him. Moral knew who had the highest score in the facultas academy, and it turned out to be Nice. The morning after the fire was put out, they discovered the underground passageway which they suspected that Moral used to escape. Art called Honey to ask for help, and she was currently on a mission with 3. Using her super analysis minimum, Honey could see on her tablet what would happen 10 minutes later. Because of this, they quickly found their target and immediately went to him, so he would not succeed on his plan. One day, they caught a kid who pointed a real gun to people at the convenience store. This was the 8th time that they had caught a child, and the kids consistently said that they got the gun after they received an email. In addition, they said that they were scheduled to do something the next day at 6 o'clock in the evening, but they did not know the exact location yet. Art talked to Nice to ask for help on this case. After they talked, Gasaki asked him why he did not inform Nice about Moral. He said that he felt that they should not let the two meet each other. Nice talked him out to get information about it, and he also had a hunch that the case mentioned by Art was connected to Takahiro's case. After that, he immediately went to Art to show them the result of his investigation. He found out that the kids they caught were all fans of a popular video, and as they listened carefully to the song, they could hear the lyrics talking about what a gun can do. For him, this was the mastermind's message that was just converted into mosquito voice, so that only 15 years old and below could hear properly. When they investigated the uploader of this video, named Yuki, they found out that his location was nearby. Meanwhile, Yuki was currently arguing with Moral because he did not know that the video he uploaded would be used in a bad way. When Yuki said that he was going to report it to the police, Moral decided to just kill him. There were only 20 minutes left until 6 o'clock, but they still did not know the exact location where all the children who received the guns would gather. As soon as Honey got to the hotel, Art immediately asked her to start looking for the exact location where a big event would happen in Yokohama. 10 minutes before 6 o'clock, Honey found out the exact location, and it was in Cosmoland. From this information, Art immediately called the police near Cosmoland to take action, and Murasaki also helped them. That's why they successfully stopped the children's plan. One day, while the doctor and Gasaki were together to look at the data that Art gave on the murder of Yuki, Gasaki suddenly attacked the doctor. He turned out to be Moral, who disguised as Gasaki. Meanwhile, Birth visited Ratio in the hospital, and they saw on the news their former classmate, named Chu, who became one of the famous artists. A few hours later, someone suddenly put Chu to sleep to abduct her. Because of this incident, Chu's manager, named Shuchi, talked to Birth and Ratio to investigate her disappearance. According to Shuchi, Chu might have been abducted because someone did not like her collaboration with director Maykid. He added that Chu had bad feeling on this, so she said that if something bad happened to her, he should not report it to the police. Instead, he should ask Ratio and Birth for help. The two of them went to Chu's rival, named Misty, because she was pointed by Shuchi as the possible mastermind behind Chu's abduction. But Misty immediately denied it, and asked why would she do that, when she was more popular than Chu and could sell more in the industry. Then she decided to go home, saying that she was supposed to do her job and not wasting her time with them, but Ratio had no intention of letting her go easily. While at the coffee shop, Nice could not believe that the famous artist, named Terreo, visited their area. Terreo said that he had a request for the Hamatora. On the other hand, Birth was going to talk to someone on the cell phone, so he excused himself and went out for a while. When Birth got out, he was suddenly attacked in the head by someone, causing him to immediately lose his consciousness. After Ratio found out about what happened, he received a call asking him and Misty to go to a building if he still wanted to get Birth back. But before Ratio went to the said location, he talked to Honey first, and he confirmed that if he followed the person who called him, the police would be there and it would look like he kidnapped Misty, and the cops would also arrest him. Meanwhile, when Birth regained his consciousness, he also saw Chu. While Ratio was telling Misty about the past between him and Birth, Birth was also telling this to Chu. After a few moments, Birth did something so that Ratio could track them down faster. As soon as Ratio saw it, they immediately went to the location. But they were surprised when they saw Shuchi, who turned out to be the mastermind. He admitted that he preferred to have Misty because she could sell more products than Chu. Using his hardening minimum, he attacked Ratio and the two of them fought. When Birth freed himself, they used the combination attack with Ratio, causing Shuchi to be greatly affected by Ratio's punch. The enemy got up again and quickly left to escape, but Murasaki came and had no intention of letting him go, and with the help of Nice, they immediately caught him. It turned out that Toreo's manager heard what Shuchi was planning, but because the company's president of Shuchi got along well with them, they wanted to resolve this issue without involving the police. When Shuchi mentioned that the minimum he got was useless, it was here that Nice became more interested in the serial killer. After hearing from Shuchi about Moral, he immediately went to Art and told him that he wanted to confront Moral. Meanwhile, Moral pretended to be a doctor whom he had killed the other day, so he could enter a facility. He intended to take the forbidden minimum from a room. But while Nice and Art were still talking about Moral, a police officer informed Art about what happened to the forbidden minimum. They immediately went to the room, and after they saw what happened, Art issued an order to distribute Moral's photo at the police station and in nearby police stations. But according to Nice, it might not work, because if Moral was able to enter without difficulty, it was possible that he disguised himself as one of the employees of the facility. While Nice was explaining the possible actions of Moral, Art suddenly got angry and told him that he should not interfere in this case. He said that they would take care of it, and then he called Honey and 3 to have a meeting about it. Since the surveillance records were deleted, they had no idea who was the last person that entered the room before the forbidden minimum disappeared. After their meeting, Art searched the mansion again to gather more evidence. He noticed the black cosmos flower, and when he approached it, he remembered that it was the flower that was placed on his sibling's grave when he and Nice visited it one day. He quickly went to the cemetery and found Moral, who was also carrying a black cosmos, so he immediately pointed a gun at him. Art asked him why he also stole the forbidden minimum if his only goal was equality. Morals answered that he only wanted to save someone. When he mentioned Nice's name, Art was surprised. Moral told the story of the day when Nice was still at the faculty academy, and he was one of the employees there. It was the first time he saw Nice, and he knew how strong that kid was. He added that just like the weak, the strongest could also feel the suffering being unequal to the strength they possessed, and the feeling that they were alone on top. For this reason, Moral wanted to be equal to Nice. But Art had no intention of letting Moral do what he was planning, because he would be the one to protect Nice as his friend. After hearing this, Moral changed his face and immediately attacked Art. Moral told him that he was not suitable as Nice's friend, because of his lack of minimum that he would not be able to understand and protect Nice. He added that if Art wanted to have the minimum, he would give it to him immediately. But Art said that it was okay with him even if he could not release his minimum. That was the moment when he was suddenly stabbed by Moral, and after a while, someone called him. When he saw that Nice was calling him, he tried to reach for his cell phone, but Moral stepped on his hand. Moral whispered something to him, and after that, he shot Art multiple times. The call was answered by Moral, who pretended to be Art, so Nice thought that Art was just safe and fine. Momoka, Moral's assistant, also came there to take care of Art's dead body. Moral knew that he and Nice could not face each other yet, because they were not equal in strength. One day, they had a client, and it was Shuji, who was an employee of the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare. Shuji showed the bottle of a drink known as the Ideal, and according to the information they gathered, the person who drank it lost consciousness and could not wake up anymore. He wanted them to bring him the creator of this drink, who was currently in Okinawa. They found out that the reason Shuji did not want the police to be involved was because his older brother, named Hiragi, was the one who created the Ideal drink. At that time, the school of Theo had a school trip to Okinawa, so Nice and Murasaki went back and decided to go there together. When they arrived in Okinawa, a group of men approached Theo and Ray. They forbid them to hang out at the beach because they said that they owned the area. But since Theo refused to obey, the leader of these men challenged him to the triathlon that would take place the next day, and whoever lost would not be able to go to this beach. Theo accepted it because he knew that they would win in the fight with Nice. While they were looking for Hiragi's location, they also saw Mao there, so they got some information. And with the help of Theo, they tracked down Hiragi's house. When they entered it, they found him sleeping. Hiragi was currently dreaming that he had very strong power and was saving his classmates from demons. When Shuji was there, Murasaki also mentioned what they had learned about what Hiragi went through before he went to Okinawa. On the other hand, Theo pleaded with Nice if he could join in the upcoming triathlon. When Nice saw the reward, he immediately decided to join it. A group of men arrived there, and it turned out that Birth and Ratio were among them. After a while, Honey and 3 also came with the intention of participating in the triathlon. As Murasaki watched Hiragi, he remembered the times when he thought that no one could defeat him. Until he met Nice, and since then, he had always lost in fights. The next day, the triathlon was held. When the contest started, Birth and 3 were immediately disqualified. Ratio followed, and to find out who would win, the contestants fought using bitter gourd. Nice easily defeated those he encountered, until he and Murasaki were left in the competition. Murasaki wanted to beat Nice, so that he could become number 1. They both agreed that they would not use their minimum. Shuji brought Hiragi there, and while Nice and Murasaki continued to fight, Hiragi suddenly burst into tears. After a few moments, Nice successfully defeated Murasaki. Before they returned to Yokohama, Nice decided to buy a gift for Art. Gasaki had no idea that the Art he was talking to was moral. When they got back to Yokohama, Nice immediately went to Art to give the things he bought, but Gasaki did not let him because Art was said to be busy. Because of this, he went back to the coffee shop. He learned that even Honey and 3 were put on standby by Art. They were surprised that Honey was not with 3, so Honey mentioned that 3 was going somewhere sometimes that she did not even know. It turned out that 3 visited an orphanage that he founded himself. Years ago, when he was still a mercenary, he used to interact with children. But one night, while they were on an operation, he successfully entered the enemy's base and left a bomb there. When he was about to leave there, he saw the children being captured by the enemies. He even tried to save them, but due to the explosion of the bomb, the children perished and he still had nightmares from what happened. One day, Art called Honey and 3 to inform them that they would no longer handle Moral's case, and Honey objected this. Art reasoned that Moral's target was minimum holders only, and he just wanted to ensure the safety of Honey and 3. When the two left, Momoka called to inform him that Nice was at the shop. When Momoka talked to Nice, she found out that he was looking for a flower that he would give to a hamburger lover, or a flower that smelled like hamburger. Nice said that he saw their shop in an advertisement, and he also found out from Momoka's colleague that she was a programmer. So Nice jokingly said that she might also a good hacker. It turned out that Nice noticed Moral's strategy in what he was doing online, and he was sure that he had a colleague who was a good hacker. Since Moral learned that Nice was investigating Momoka, he decided not to send her to his laboratory for the meantime. He added that although his disguise to be Art helped him a lot, it was not enough to deceive Nice. When they got back to the coffee shop, they had a client who wanted to have 3 be investigated. At the same time, they also found out from the news that the media was swarming the orphanage because of 3, who was known as Bloody Beast. A reporter interviewed Masayoshi, who said that he knew 3, and the reason why 3 was nicknamed the Bloody Beast was because of the crimes that he committed before. Honey could not believe that 3 was running an orphanage, and that he was currently in there because he was worried about the children. So they accepted the man's request to investigate 3, so that they would know his true identity and why he built an orphanage. A few hours later, Birth and Ratio arrived at the orphanage, pretending to be delivery men. They carried the box full of fruits for the children. And 3 was surprised that Honey was also inside this box. Nice went to ask Mao for information, and they noticed the name of the orphanage, which means punishment. When Honey and 3 talked, it was here that he told his reason for helping the children. It turned out that the family members of those who died in the explosion were taken in by him. He knew that one day, they would also find out who was responsible for the death of their family members, and he was ready to accept his punishment. Honey disagreed on what 3 was planning, so she decided that she would also help in raising the children properly. By nightfall, the mercenaries entered the orphanage, but they did not know that Nice and Murasaki were also there. Suddenly, someone attacked Honey, and it turned out to be Masayoshi. Masayoshi said that he was a fan of 3, and he was the reason why he also became a mercenary. He said that he disliked what 3 had done by harboring children to pay for his sins. When they heard the cry of the children, Honey and Murasaki immediately moved to check on them. After Nice punched Masayoshi, 3 immediately grabbed the mercenary. That was the moment when Masayoshi decided to carry out his other plan, and it was to burn down the orphanage through his fellow mercenaries. The fire quickly spread to the room where Honey and the children were located. 3 was so angry that he threw Masayoshi against the wall. After that, he also showed his true power. He immediately went to Honey and the children, then he successfully got them to safety. While Moral was looking at the burning orphanage, he mobilized his disciples. Some of them went to their acquaintances who were always bullying them before, and killed them. The next day, while Nice and others were walking back to the coffee shop, they met some girls running away from something. They saw Takahiro ahead and walking toward them, who was the cause of people's fear. They were surprised because they knew that he was supposed to be in jail. They took Takahiro to the coffee shop, and he said that the reason why he got out of jail was because a man with black cosmos on his clothes came to release him. He added that those men that he mentioned were non-innate minimum holders. Then he said that he also intended to ask help from Hamatora. He would like to know how he could get back his old appearance. But Nice immediately rejected it and left there. Murasaki chased after him to ask why he did not want to accept Takahiro's request. Nice said that Takahiro asked for it, and he could not understand his intention now. However, Murasaki still decided to accept Takahiro's request. Birth jokingly told Hajime that she was getting fat because she was always eating. Because of this, she invited Takahiro to go on a diet, and Murasaki volunteered to serve as their instructor. As other people continued to protest against the minimum holders, many were also using social media to post their opposition to the minimum holders. Momoka took action on this matter, so every time someone posted against the minimum holders, a link was automatically added that pointed out the location of the person who posted on social media. Through this, they were easily tracked down by non-innate minimum holders to retaliate against them. Meanwhile, Moral was just enjoying and observing the riots in different parts of the city. Even a student who was the child of a minimum holder was being bullied by other students due to the escalation of discrimination. Chu suddenly came there and used his minimum to save the bullied student. But no matter where they go, they were still being chased by these people. So Chu called Birth to ask help from them. But when they saw Chu, she was already lying in an alley and was full of bruises on her body. Since Art was not answering Nice calls, he visited the Yokohama Police Department. When he and Gasaki entered Art's office, they were surprised that Art was not there. Nice noticed the can of black coffee, so he thought that there was someone else who went in the room because he knew that Art would not drink black coffee. Then he also saw the black cosmos in a vase, so he immediately went to the rooftop of Moral's apartment and saw him there. He took him to the coffee shop, so they could talk properly. Moral was surprised that Nice had tracked him down in his apartment, so Nice told him about Honey's minimum that had the ability to see the future. He said that he knew that it had been less than 5 minutes before the coffee drinker left, so he asked Honey for help. After he told everything he did, he asked Moral what he did to Art. That was the moment when Moral changed his face to Art, and after he touched Kaneko, he returned to his true face again. After he did this, Nice immediately got the answer that he wanted. Then Moral explained about the non-innate minimum holders, and said that his only goal was to help the weak to keep up with the innate minimum holders. He said a lot more about what he was doing, including those who were causing trouble in different parts of the city. After the quick action of Bert's group, they were able to save Chi's life. It was only here that they realized that she was also a minimum holder, so people who had a grudge against minimum holders were also targeting her. After Moral mentioned most of his actions, he also mentioned to Nice that one of his goals was to save him, and he was now trying to be equal to him. But Nice suddenly laughed after hearing this. For him, Moral was just taking advantage of non-minimum holders, and it was unjust, and Nice added that he admired those who do not have the ability even more because they accepted their weakness. He decided that he would not just let Moral continue what he was doing. But according to Moral, before he and Nice have their fight, he still had a sideshow that he wanted to show to them. He was currently attacking the civic center where Shuko was giving a speech. So while Takahiro was outside, he suddenly became worried about his mother's condition. Moral showed Nice what was happening outside, and to make sure that Nice would not make a move until he got out of there, he made Kaneko his hostage. He told Nice that he just had something to finish, and asked him to wait before they start their fight. It was not long before the enemy's tank entered the civic center to kill Shuko. But before they could do this, Takahiro suddenly came there to save his mother. Together with Murasaki and Hajime, they fought the enemies. After Takahiro promised his mother that he would protect her, that was the moment he revealed his true ability. Because of this, the opponents could do nothing against him. So when Nice came there, he was amazed at what Takahiro was showing. Until Takahiro reached his limit that the enemy took this chance to knock him down. But Nice interfered and took action to put the person who attacked Takahiro to sleep. Due to the continuous media coverage of what was currently happening at the Civic Center, Moral could also watch what was happening there. So he decided to detonate the bomb that he planted in Takahiro's body. Hajime cried because of what happened to Takahiro, and Nice was shaking with anger because of what Moral did. Hajime could not hold back her feelings at that moment, causing her to release her power. An enemy even tried to attack her, but she easily blocked him and immediately punched the enemy. Then she fainted after that and lost consciousness. Fortunately, Konkeo came there to take care of her. When Moral finished his plans, he injected something into himself so that Nice would not have to wait too long. In a karaoke room, there was a non-minimum holder who wondered how he came there. He saw the instruction on the table, and when he followed it, he was surprised that he already acquired the minimum. It turned out that Momoka was recording him, and she released the video in different parts of the city. The reporter said that this person instantly became a minimum holder, then they encouraged other non-minimum holders that if they wanted to have a minimum, they should just go to Pacific Yokohama. For those who did not care about this, Momoka had also prepared something for them. Using the robots, she made them feel how hard it was to live without the minimum. When Honey and the others found out about this, they took action to stop the robots, and even Berth's group also helped to destroy the robots. But when Berth got back to Ratio's car, they were attacked by the man they fought before. Ratio decided to face the enemy, while Berth took the motorcycle to chase the other robots. While Momoka was observing what was happening in the city, she did not expect that Gasaki would be able to track her down. On the other hand, Nice and Murasaki went to the ship where Moral was waiting, then he let Murasaki took care of Moral's disciples. When Nice and Moral faced each other, Moral said that he would show the power of the forbidden minimum. When Nice attacked, Moral easily avoided it, and because of his speed, he repeatedly attacked Nice. Nice knew that it was not like his minimum, and it was more on teleportation. Moral said that he was be able to appear anywhere within a 10-meter radius. He also mentioned that they were now heading to Yokohama Media Tower. He added that he would do an experiment that had something to do with non-minimum holders. It turned out that inside this tower was the minimum holder that Nice had defeated before, named Hibiki. Hibiki had the ability to kill people with his scream. From the time set by Momoka, people would receive a call at the same time, and Hibiki would be tortured to make him scream. Although other victims may not die after answering the call, they would surely lose their hearing. Through this, they would all realize how weak they were, and because of this, they would also be encouraged to want to have the minimum. Suddenly, Nice rushed at Moral, but he still could not hit him. He tried to attack again, but he was knocked down by Moral. When Murasaki came there, he immediately attacked Moral. After that, Moral also attacked Murasaki repeatedly and was able to beat him. At that moment, Nice listened to the snapping of his finger over again, as if he wanted to try something. While Theo and Ray were at the dock and watching the ship where Nice boarded, they noticed the boat that passed by. After what Nice did, he put on his headphones again. He attacked Moral, which was dodged quickly, but Nice was also able to avoid Moral's attack. Moral could not believe that Nice could keep up with his speed. Until Nice managed to punch him in the face. When Moral got up, he felt the effects of injecting the forbidden minimum into his body. After a while, Art appeared there and told Moral that it was impossible for the human body to have two minimums. Nice could not believe that Art was still alive, and then Art shot Moral to kill him. This is the end of the last episode of Hamatora the animation. I hope you like it and give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss new uploaded videos. Thank you for watching.